Happy Tuesday. Hope you're well. Hope you're happy. Hope you're full of energy. I learnt something very interesting about energy recently. In fact, over the last few weeks, I've picked up a few tips. And one of them was something I learnt from an English lady I absolutely adore just last week. And this is how she prepares herself for an event that she is doing. And it could be something like a networking meeting, because a lot of us are going to networking meetings. And you know what it's like. There are people there who've got high energy that you're attracted to. There are people there who don't have a lot of energy and almost come across as being a bit depressive. You don't want to be one of those. You want to be one of the people who's bright and bubbly. But what if you don't feel like it? What if you are having a really bad time, or you've had a horrible day, or you've just had an argument, or your kid is sick upstairs from home and you don't quite know how to deal with it and you're worried, or I don't know, all sorts of things could happen that would pull your energy down, which would then make it more difficult to do things like that. Or if you've got a sales call coming up and you're really nervous, or whatever it is, there are lots of things that we come across and we have to face in our business. And it is better if you have a higher level of energy to do that. So I learned something very extraordinary the last couple of weeks. I've talked about this before. I've talked about how you can get your energy up by putting on music you like and dancing. That's one of the reasons the music I use on my intro is so bouncy, because it's good to get the energy up when you listen to it. But this is something I have never heard of before, and it seemed to me to be a little bit extreme, but it actually has turned out to be quite useful. Okay, so in Russia, they make these bamboo, kind of like brooms almost. They're little strands of bamboo, and they're all twisted together onto a stick, and they use them during the sauna process to stimulate the skin. Now, I don't own one of those, but the person who was showing me this technique does have one. And I have looked them up online and you can buy them. They're a little odd, but you can buy them. They seem to be Russian. I didn't realize at the time. I thought they might be Asian or anything, but they're Russian, and they're sauna brushes or something like that. But you can also do the same thing with your hands. Right? You don't need to use a brush necessarily. You can use your hands. But the idea is this. You take said brush or hand and you tap along your body. Now, the woman, because she had this brush, was actually tapping on her head as well. And I think that with your hands, that might be a little bit too much of impact. But if you just do your fingertips on your head, and round your forehead and round like that, and then slap your arms, okay, and slap your legs. What are you doing? You're actually helping the blood pump around your body better, which brings more oxygen to your brain, which kind of wakes you up. It's a little odd. And it feels very funny doing it, as in strange, doing it, sort of sitting here and slapping the arm. And it seems strange, but it actually works. In fact, I can feel it working now. My arms are sort of almost a little bit tingly. And it's so quick and it's so easy. And you can do it anywhere, because most people I know have their arms with them all the time, even if you don't have a little stick. And that's another reason why I probably wouldn't get myself a little stick or a little broom, because I'd forget about it. And then I'd think, oh, the broom's in a different room and I can only do it if I've got the broom, blah, 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 blah. And that's another excuse. I've told you before, in some ways, I have a PhD in excuses. So, or I used to have. I'm working on reprogramming myself. And this is one of those techniques. So instead of having that and giving myself a reason to not do it, don't have a broom, use my hands, then I don't have an excuse. Sitting in the car at the traffic lights, walking up the steps to a meeting, if you're speaking in public, anything like that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, the other thing that you get sometimes when you're a little bit low energy is you feel a little bit depressed, okay? It feels as though you feel depressed or depressive or sort of getting in that direction, right? And there is another trick, another tool that this same slightly eccentric English lady taught me last week. And it is to laugh for 60 seconds. That's a whole minute. To laugh consistently for a whole minute. So who's up for that? Nobody, because it's actually incredibly difficult to laugh for a whole minute. And I haven't actually managed to do it because I get really tired and I start feeling really silly. So I have not mastered that one yet. But hey, let's have a go together, shall we, for a few seconds? Okay, so this is how it works. Yeah, seriously, you do that for a minute and you go through the this feels really silly, this feels fake, this feels false, and how ridiculous, and can I laugh in a different way? Ha 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 ha, just to make it different so it doesn't sound so monotonous. And it is incredible how long a minute can last when you're doing something so insane. I found actually that the best way to do it was in the bathroom with the door closed so that other people in the house might not hear what's going on, because it does seem odd. And I watch myself in the mirror because after a while, I actually genuinely start laughing at how stupid I look laughing, which helps me laugh. That sort of makes it longer. If I turn away, if I'm not looking at myself in the mirror and I can't see myself laugh, I find it sometimes very difficult to find something funny. And then because I'm thinking about the fact that there's nothing funny, it makes it even more difficult to laugh. So looking at myself in the mirror and laughing at myself in the mirror actually becomes almost a little bit funny because it looks a bit ridiculous. And then I actually start to laugh a bit for real because it looks so ridiculous, which then helps me drag it out to almost a minute, although I'm not sure I've ever really done a proper solid minute. So there you are. Those are all my excuses as to why I haven't done it. But I am persevering, and we can compare notes, you and I, as to who's doing better and who's lasting longer and so on and so forth. So that's what I've learned about energy recently, that you can slap yourself and get your energy levels up, which make you feel better, that you can laugh yourself into a slightly better state of mind. Now, the important thing about these two is to remember to do them in moments where you really need them, moments of crisis, when something goes wrong, instead of thinking, as I certainly tend to, and I know that there are people that I've talked to about this who have the same feeling, you tend to spiral down. And then sometimes it takes you a bit of an effort to drag yourself up again. Try to remember before you get to that point to laugh or to do the slapping. And I haven't figured out a good name for that yet. If anyone's got a good name for this thing, this tapping, slapping, can't call it tapping because that's reminiscent of this stuff. And we can talk about that maybe another day. I don't know whether any of you know that. So you can't call it tapping. And it isn't really tapping. It's actually slapping. If you call it slapping, well, that's got connotations. Anyway, if anyone can come up with a great name, that would be fabulous. The wake up tap, the wake up slap, the wake up system. I don't know, whatever. Do it. Remember to do it when you're feeling bleh. And if you're feeling bleh, laugh. Remember to laugh. And another reason for doing it in front of the mirror is because, and this is something I learned a long time ago from my business partner, mentor, and that was to look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, which at the time was almost impossible to do. And there are days when it's not very easy either. But I'll tell you why it works. And that is because I live with the voice in my head. And most of the time, the voice in my head is telling me unpleasant things. It's almost as if it's on a mission to make me feel bad, or to bring out all the negative things that are in my head, in my thoughts. You know, when something bad happens today, it reminds me of something bad that happened in the past that makes what happened today seem so much worse, right? So obviously I'm used to believing what's going on in my mind. And I've spent the last few years learning to not believe it. But that's a challenge. I'm basically programmed in some way to believe myself, even though I know in a rational way that it's a pack of lies. On some level, I believe myself. So if I'm looking at myself in a mirror and I'm saying to myself something that's important, like, you are a valuable person, you are kind, loving, ethical, and you help people, or even just looking at my own face and saying, I love you, on some level, I believe it more than if I just said it out loud, because I can see myself. And I don't know whether you know anything about when a mind is learning information, but it helps to give it different stimuli, which is why all these interactive things for learning are so popular, because you read the words, you watch the video, you do the exercises, your mind is being stimulated on lots of different levels, right? And that's the same thing when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're saying something to yourself, you're learning it better because you can see it and hear it at the same time. And of course, you hear your voice with your ears, and you also hear your internal voice with your mind. But I'm getting way too deep into personal development stuff here, which is not really my area of expertise. So play with the things that I've suggested. Do this to raise your energy level, right? Do all this to raise your energy level. Laugh at yourself to raise your energy level before you go into a big meeting. Let's bring it more back into a business context. Okay, that is energy. What you're doing is you're moving the energy around in a different way, because the energy is always in your body, but it can move at a different speed, right? Energy is everything in the universe, even solid things like this. That was a good noise. And I upset the dog because she now thinks someone's at the door. Zoe, come on, Zoe, it's okay. Zoe, pup, it's okay. Come, quiet. Okay, she'll calm down in a minute. So energy is everywhere, all over the place. And when you do something, you push energy in a direction. And I did a course years ago with somebody called Tim Levy about the energy of money. And I was reviewing that information recently, the energy of money. I was reviewing that information recently because everything has energy, including money. Now, money is not a piece of paper, and we very rarely even use those anymore nowadays. It is also not a piece of plastic. It is also not numbers on a screen. It's actually an exchange for something that was done, right? Something that was done in some way, somewhere, something that was produced and is sold, a service that was given. It is simply a way of exchanging. If you think about it, going back to the barter days, or going back to ancient history before money was invented, you'd say, I've got 3 chickens. Can I buy your goat? Or whatever it was. You would exchange something for something else. And I think the idea of exchange or fair exchange is missing a little bit in money now, particularly because people have been taught, especially I think women, that they don't have much value, that they can't earn enough money to give them what they need. Most of the women that I work with, or most of the people I work with, are women, and most of them are undervaluing themselves because they've got a funny button about money and exchange. Women seem to have been trained to believe that they can give and give and give and give, and one day an exchange will come. One day I'll get rich if I work like this for a long time. Okay. Apparently the universe doesn't work that way. And another mentor and coach I was working with a few years ago taught me that money loves speed. So here I am learning about the energy of money, and money loves speed. And I was introduced some time ago, actually 17 weeks ago, to an investment opportunity. Is not quite the right word, but it is the right word, because what I did was I gave some money to a company that then does things with it. And I can tell you great detail all about what it does. And then I get a return, which is the way the stock market works, which is the way foreign exchange works, all sorts of things. In fact, here's a little fun fact about me. I worked for a hedge fund back in London before I came to the UK. And in the first year or so of my working there, I helped the company generate £462,000 worth of income from trading foreign exchange. We had dollars, we had pounds, and we would buy and sell and swap them over. And at the end of the year, we looked at that. Now, what I would do is I would monitor. I would look at where the numbers were. And then I'd go to my boss and say, do you think we should sell today? And he'd say, give it another day or two. And then if it was going on in our favor, I'd leave it a day or two. But if it seemed to be starting to go back, I'd say to him, it's going down again. Should we do it now? And he'd say, yep. And we did that for a year. And I was amazed at how much that actually generated. Of course, you have to have a massive, massive amount of money in order to make that kind of profit on something like that. Or do you? Because with this company that I've been involved with now for 16 weeks, I have now made 46% of what I gave them in 17 weeks. So what happens is every Friday I go into my account and I take the bonus out that they've paid me. It's kind of interest, sort of bonus, dividend. They call it a bonus. And I take it out of the account that it's sitting in and I put it into the trading account, which is where I put my money in the first place. So that the following week, I'm trading with more money than the week before. Okay, that happens on a Friday. Now takes me about 90 seconds to do. And that is a very interesting thing. And it's just about energy being moved from one place to another place. I know some people have concerns about that kind of thing. Some people don't. So if you've got any questions about any of the things I've said, from slapping yourself to tapping your head to laughing out loud to interesting things that you could do with a little bit of spare cash. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking, you could do it for 500. Really is not a lot of money. So here we go. My email address is andrea@myhomebiztips. My telephone number, you can text and call me, is 858-252-1190. If you want to book an appointment, you can do that at calendly.com, Andrea Kuchin. You can also go to our website, myhomebiz.tips, and I think there's a link there to book an appointment with me. Yes, I'm sure you can book a call with me. And of course, you can jump into the Facebook group and get all your friends to jump into the Facebook group too. If you want any more information about the things I'm involved in and the things that I do to help grow home businesses, non-home businesses, and help business owners set up systems to make their lives simpler and easier and to cut the overwhelm and the stress, check out myhomebiz.tips/Andrea Kuchin. So that is the end of my broadcast for today. I hope that I have given you something really, really useful. And honestly, if you're in a bit of a tight spot and you worry sometimes about your future, like school for kids, my daughter's 15 and a half. She's about to start learning to drive. She's going to want a car. She's going to want to go to university. You know, maybe in America, maybe in Europe somewhere, who knows? That is going to cost a massive amount of money. Prices are going up. The future is not looking particularly bright financially at the moment. So if you want to knock around some ideas that might potentially help you make yours look a little bit more rosy, reach out to me. There you go. That's it. Slap, slap, slap. Let's get the energy level up, and I will see you right here next Tuesday. And I wish you a wonderful week, and I'm looking for my outro. Okay, here it is. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.